we need you. We need your action. Yeah, we have common enemy, common virus, Islamic Republic. We can, you were the first one to use the word change the regime. Put it the other way.
We want Canada to understand that they have to ask for the release of all those women who protested peacefully against compulsory hijab as soon as possible because they want to be heard. So this is our demand, and this is 21st century. Do not call compulsory hijab part of our culture, because calling a discriminatory law part of our culture, this is an insult to a nation. Do not say that that causes Islamophobia, we don't want to touch the issue. Because the law which lashes us, which arrests us, which kick us from our own country, that causes Islamophobia, not the women who are fighting against oppressive and the discriminatory laws. And do not say that this is an internal matter, we don't want to get involved.
Well, what would you like, in more detail, what would you like Western leaders to do in relationship to the ongoing events in Iran? What do you think would be most helpful as far as you're concerned? So if I could sit down and talk to my Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, which has about as much chance of happening as a snowball lasting on the sun, by the way, what do you think it is that he should be doing that would actually be helpful to the women and men in Iran who are trying to fight against this fundamentalist tyranny?
Simple demand. I call on Justin Trudeau to put the Revolutionary Guards on the terrorist list. Look, 3 years ago, I was in Canadian Parliament. I was actually begging the policymakers to put Revolutionary Guards in the terrorist list, to sanction Revolutionary Guards, and to sanction all the oppressors. 3 years ago. What happened? I was ignored. I was actually under attack by some of the Islamic Republic apologists in Canada. And they're calling themselves activists, human rights activists, but they were echoing the voice of the Iranian regime and attacking me, bullying me. Why? Because I asked Justin Trudeau to actually sanction Revolutionary Guards. What happened? By ignoring our demand, the same Revolutionary Guard shot down the Ukrainian airplane and killed 176 innocent Iranian and Canadian people.
So our Prime Minister is hypothetically a progressive sort of person and is hypothetically on the side of women. And so how do you account for the fact that despite your attendance at the Canadian Parliament and your request for support that you never got it? How do you explain that?
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. But as you actually got to know me during this interview, I'm not that kind of person to give up my fight. I'm not that kind of person to give up having hope to convince the leaders of democratic countries that this is your turn now. You have to recognize Iran's revolution and call your allies, get united, kick out the Islamic Republic diplomats, recall your ambassadors from Iran, and publicly announce that the nuclear deal is dead. Is dead. Because you cannot condemn the killers, the murderers, but at the same time trying to negotiate with them, sending billions of dollars to the same murderers.
Yep. Can we talk a little bit about the nuclear deal? Is that a reasonable place to go?
I think there's nothing else to add. The nuclear deal is already dead, but what we want the US government and its allies clearly and publicly announce that, because this is the only thing can help the Islamic Republic to survive. You know, Islamic Republic always put the blame on us, saying that, this revolution, the new revolution, is being supported by Western government. But believe me, for its own survival, the Islamic Republic is begging for support, to get support from the Western countries. We don't actually ask for much help from the leaders of democratic countries. What we want is just we want them to stick with their own values. That's all. And not save the Islamic Republic while the Iranian people manage to shake this regime. Don't go and shake the hand of the same regime. That's all we want. Because we believe that the Islamic Republic is a threat for the region and for the democratic countries as well. And if the Western countries looking for stability in the region, they cannot go and negotiate with one of the most unstable regime. They have to recognize the civil society. They have to recognize this modern progressive revolution, and they have to stick with the people of Iran. We are better allies than the Islamic Republic for the Western countries.
Right. So do you believe that the revolutionary spirit that's now manifesting itself in Iran, is that growing, or are the mullahs successfully repressing it? Because it looks like it doesn't look to me like it's spreading exponentially. You know, I can't tell, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk to you today. I mean, the mullahs have a lot of control and they have a lot of power and authority on their side. And so what's the situation on the ground in Iran? How widespread are the protests? What percentage of the population is taking part? I mean, the Chinese successfully have clamped down on their people time and time again and maintained their terrible totalitarian regime. And so I don't understand the balance of power in Iran at the moment. Do you think that the protesters have any chance here, or are they just going to get shut down?
I strongly believe that this time the protesters are going to win the battle. Because, look, first of all, the level of the brutality is very high. I mean, people are facing executions, but it's still, every single person get killed. People get back to the street and turn his or her funeral like a massive protest against the same regime. But don't forget that they have money, and they can actually, buy some of the people to shut down the protest and to oppress the protesters. But at the same time, the more that the Iranian regime killed, the more that Iranian people get determined to overthrow this barbaric regime. For me and millions of other people, this time is different. This time is different because this time maybe it's like not 2009 demonstrations. In 2009, it was mostly about election. It's not like 2019 demonstrations because it was mostly about economic. This time is mixed. People who believe that this regime is against every minority. It's against men, women, LGBT community, environment. It's against Baha'i, Jewish people, Kurds, Turk, Baluch. They're all got united. But for years and years, the Iranian regime was successfully could execute Kurds. And people were like, okay, we are not Kurds, we are not going to get involved. They were successfully executing Jewish people, Baha'i minority, Arabs, Turks. But now, immediately when they killed Mahsa Amini, people were like, we're all Mahsa. We're all united. People didn't say that we are not women, so we're not going to get involved to that. So this time is different because we see a sense of unity among Iranians inside and outside. This time is unique because we see a sense of unity among Iranians and non-Iranians outside Iran. You see that, finally, people or celebrities are echoing the voice of Iranian people. And this is the first time in our history that we see Iranian well-known athletes quitting their jobs and supporting Iranian uprising. This is the first time that we see Iranian well-known actress saying that we don't want to be part of the propaganda tool. They're removing their hijab and they're saying, we want to be part of this uprising. So that makes it different.
Right. So you're making the case that this series of protests, this revolutionary movement, in some sense is more fundamental and also more united. It's not about economics only. It's not about the political situation and corruption. It's about the fundamentally totalitarian nature of the state and the fact that it's oppressing people so broadly that everyone can be united in their opposition to that oppression.
Exactly.
And so you see it as striking at the heart of the totalitarian state.
Exactly. And as I told you, this is the first time in the history that people are united in a beautiful way. And it actually empowered many people in autocracy, like Chinese people, when they took to the street, they were
Yeah, right,
actually showing
right.
their support to Iranian people, using the same slogan, woman, life, freedom. People in Afghanistan, they got empowered by the slogan of Iranian people. So clearly, this uprising is encouraging everyone to be part of it. You know, it's beautiful. It's very progressive. It's very beautiful that you see mothers and fathers immediately when they lose their beloved one, they take to the street and saying that this revolution needs blood and our beloved one, you know. I mean, I get goosebumps. It's not easy for parents to say that. It's not easy. I'm a mother. I cannot even imagine losing my son when I see that brave mothers for justice in Iran, immediately when they lose their son, they get the picture of their beloved one, and they like leading the revolution and saying that this revolution needs the blood, and my beloved one sacrificed her life, his life, to free Iran. This is a revolution. The revolution happened inside the heart of Iranian people, you know. It's very, very powerful that you see people know that this is not free, but they are ready to pay the price. These are like, you know, to me, it's like I'm walking in the history. You know, in the history you read about heroes, but now we actually see the real heroes in the streets of Iran saying that freedom is not free, but we are ready to pay the price to get rid of the Islamic Republic.